Tonight, new information about the deaths of 2 City of Rochester employees yesterday. State police revealing that Rochester 911 dispatcher Janet Jordan was shot to death inside her home on Wetmore Park.
She wouldn't hurt a soul, I know that. My sister, we didn't have to talk every day, but I knew she was always there.
And good evening, I'm Doug Embledge in for Don tonight. State police also say the Rochester Police Sergeant, who was named as a person of interest in Jordan's death, shot and killed himself. The body of Melvin Williams was found in a vehicle at Veterans Memorial Park in Henrietta yesterday. Troopers have not released details of what led to either of the deaths. So we begin tonight with Chase Howell in the newsroom, who spoke with the sister of Janet Jordan today about how she's being remembered.
Yeah, her sister tells me Janet was much more than a 911 dispatcher. She was kind, fun, and sweet. But most importantly, she was a great friend, daughter, and big sister. Always by her side. That's how Janet Jordan's little sister Angelina describes their relationship.
When I was a baby, it's not really something I remember, but my mom always tells me I was in a swing once, and I was swinging back and forth, and it popped on the ground. And she was like, Beangelina, and that's where my nickname Bean came from.
Angelina says her sister's death still doesn't feel real. Her dad came home early from work Monday and told her the tragic news.
I feel like I'm living a dream because, when I woke up the other day, I feel like I've just been asleep since. My dad never came home and woke me up.
She says Janet had a lot of friends and everyone loved her.
My sister did, she was an instructor at the 911, at the department. And I had a friend reach out and say that I remember your sister, she took me home. She bought my dinner, and all this stuff. And my sister would do it a million times again. She wouldn't hurt a fly, and she would always take care of anybody if they needed it.
Angelina says the last time they spoke was after Janet posted a baby picture of the 2 of them on Facebook.
And I told her, I was love you. That was the last thing that I was able to say to her. And part of me wishes that I called her, but I'm trying not to blame myself.
And whether it was Janet pushing her in a swing or the nickname Bean she gave her, Angelina says she will never forget the memories of her big sister.
Last thing big thing she did for me was she bought all of my college dorm stuff. It was super cute. And that's the blanket that I've been sleeping with the whole time ever since.
We also received a statement from the union which Jordan belonged to, reading in part, "There are no words to express our shock and sadness as we've learned that Janet Jordan, a dear friend to all and fellow Rochester 911 co-worker, was taken from us far too soon." Janet is survived by her mom, dad, sisters, and husband.
Gun violence in our city continues to take lives and stoke fear. The search for answers continues as well. The lieutenant governor was in our city today to meet with leaders about ways to make things better. As 13 Web's Natalie Kutchko found out, the lieutenant governor says there are things the state can do to help.
Yeah, the biggest takeaways from today's event include more violence prevention resources coming down from the state level, as well as an additional focus on opportunities for young people. That includes more jobs.
But listening to all the folks that are behind us.
Alongside Rochester Mayor Malik Evans, dozens of community leaders and relatives of those impacted by gun violence, Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin continues the call for change.
The thing that I heard today that I had not heard before in the way that it was mentioned today is the importance across the board around jobs and workforce development and investing in the economic vitality of the city of Rochester. What alternatives are we giving our young people?
Just minutes after the lieutenant governor spoke, Rochester police officers responded to a call on Taylor Street, where a 24-year-old woman was shot, her injuries said to be non-life threatening. As police continue to investigate 4 homicides within 5 days last week, Benjamin reinforced the issue of addressing the problem of illegal guns. After a few months, he says the state's illegal gun task force has taken roughly 1,600 guns off the street, more than 120 in the city of Rochester.
I have echoed
the challenges that we have with this iron pipeline when people are going down to Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, and then getting those guns up here. The Lieutenant Governor has committed to make sure that he provides all the resources necessary to Rochester to ensure that we stop that flow of guns.
Wanda Ridgway has been on the front lines, helping victims' families through the nonprofit Rise Up Rochester. She says she's encouraged by the help promised by the state.
Things need to change like now. Now we have to have resources, safe housing, even on a county level. We all got to come together, and we have to collaborate to make sure and give these families hope and create plans for them.
And the Lieutenant Governor says there is a big push to include more measures for public safety, as well as funding for workforce development in the state's upcoming budget. That's set to go before the legislature April 1st.
Tonight, there's growing outrage over a convicted killer who is scheduled to speak at SUNY Brockport this spring. Jalil Muntakim, formerly known as Anthony Bottom, was convicted of killing 2 New York City police officers in 1971. Good evening. I'm Doug Emblidge in for Don tonight. And just in, SUNY Brockport now says, based on some new information, it is rescinding the grant that would pay his speaking fee. But he's still booked to speak, even as some lawmakers and members of law enforcement are calling on the college to cancel the event. 13 Wham's Carla Rogner has been following this controversy for the last few days, and she's live at SUNY Brockport tonight. Carla?
Yeah, Muntakim is scheduled to speak here at SUNY Brockport in just a few weeks about his time with the Black Panther Party in being what he calls a political prisoner. However, several groups and people say the university should not be giving him a platform. According to SUNY Brockport, Muntakim's visit was being funded in part by a grant from the school's Office of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. That is no longer the case. The school has just announced it has rescinded that grant, but it is not canceling the event. The event page says Muntakim will offer an intellectual conversation, but doesn't mention he was convicted of killing 2 police officers in 1971. He was released on parole in 2020. Several people and groups are opposing this campus visit, saying the university should cancel.
I think an event such as this, with this individual speaking, is not what we need right now. And I also question the issue, certainly, of it being an intellectual discussion. I think that there's enough controversy about is he a political prisoner or not. But I didn't take it on its face value. I went back and read a number of things that he wrote, and I questioned his remorse. I questioned his knowledge and understanding of policing.
SUNY Brockport did not respond to requests for an interview, but sent a statement. President McPherson saying in part, Mr. Muntakim's talk will give those who choose to engage an opportunity to learn about his perspective and what may have contributed to his past experiences. Individuals will have the opportunity to ask difficult questions. Then goes on to say, every individual can decide for themselves what they personally should do with that information. And coming up tonight at 10 and 11, hear from one of Muntakim's friends and the widow of one of the officers he killed back in 1971. I also reached out to Muntakim several times for an interview, but he declined.